Hello, good evening, and welcome to Monkeys with Fire. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. So then, we are going to be taking a look at a brand new role-playing game release. We're going to take a look at Untamed Worlds, an anthropomorphic sci-fi RPG from Jack Norris, the designer, illustrated by Logan Stahl, and from publisher Osprey Games. Of course, my thanks to Osprey Games for providing a copy for us to take a look at this evening. As is typical with one of these first look shows, as we go through, if we hit spoiler territory, I will flash up the spoiler sign. So for those who are wanting to play, that might be the time to tap out. For those who are going to be acting as GMs, you'll want to stay and maybe learn a little bit more about the game. All right, I guess let's jump to the table and take a look. Good evening, Em. Hi there. Just saying quickly hi. Can't stay for long, but interesting book today. Well, here we go. Let's take a quick look. So, an anthropomorphic, I have been practicing that over and over today, science fiction role-playing game, Untamed Worlds. Let's have a look on the back. Welcome to space, the last great wilderness. While humanity has reached the stars, most humans live on Earth and other developed worlds, relying on the brave or desperate few to tame this dangerous new frontier. After disastrous experiments with human and AI operatives, the collective nations and megacorporations of Earth turn to the animal kingdom, genetically modifying and enhancing various species to protect their off-world interests. As humanity extends its reach into untamed space, the elite, if expendable, animals of the United Expeditionary Force are the tip of the spear. It's been a while. Untamed Worlds is a military science fiction role-playing game of anthropomorphic action in which dog-faced soldiers, guerrilla commandos, chameleon snipers, octopus gunslingers, and other uplifted animals fight to defend a humanity that looks down on them. The 2d6 base system is simple but dynamic, with success and failure constantly generating new tactical options for players to exploit and challenges to which they must adapt. Whether pacifying alien threats and rebel factions, hunting down rogue AIs, or exploring the unknown, it's never a dull day in the UEF. Okay, that's an interesting sort of synopsis of the game there. Let's take a quick scan of the book. This is actually quite a meaty book from Osprey Games. I think it comes in at, well, there we go, 288 pages. So there's quite a lot to sort of get your teeth into. We've got a little bit of a sheen on the cover, as you see. It's picking up the light here. The pages themselves have a little shine to them, but not too bad at all. And we've got this nice sort of sci-fi design to it. The sort of computer screen text. We've got pieces of art throughout, primarily all of these uplifted animal potential player characters that we might be. So let's jump on in and let's see what we've got. So as I say, it is designed by Jack Norris, illustrated by Logan Stahl. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I think I am. What do we have? Introduction, the Untamed Worlds, playing the game, character creation, gear and vehicles, advancement, and then we go, I'm assuming, into the sort of GM section with running Untamed Worlds, enemies, known space, and then an appendix on the UEF and uplift information, character sheet, rules reference, acknowledgements and credits. So, welcome to Untamed Worlds, Anthropomorphic science fiction role-playing. This is a military science fiction action tabletop role-playing game where anywhere between 2 to 7 players. Okay, so it's pretty much given us a rundown, as we might expect, on what is a role-playing game for anybody that would be new to playing these types of games. And it's given us a little bit of a bit more depth as far as what was on the back cover. So most humans, as it says, live on Earth, and of course humanity is trying to push out into the frontiers of space, and as opposed to doing it themselves, they have basically genetically modified animals, and they send them out in their stead. So yeah, this is where player characters come in. In Untamed Worlds, players portray genetically modified animals and the occasional indentured human undesirable, charged with exploring strange worlds, protecting human interests, and confronting various dangers so humanity doesn't have to. It's an exciting and dangerous existence, one that may push the player characters to eventually seek another way to survive and thrive. Okay. A little bit of a hint tease there. So what is an uplift? Uplift is short for a genetically uplifted non-human. Or another way of saying artificially advanced animal. So this is kind of cool. I mean, who doesn't like playing games where they are a sort of animal hybrid? We looked at a game, oh gosh, it was many months ago. It was Mutant Year Zero, wasn't it? From Free League Publishing. And they have an expansion for that game where you can play as animals. So I like that concept because I really enjoyed that as part of Mutant Year Zero. In fact, I enjoyed that aspect more than I enjoyed playing as a mutant. So it goes into a little bit to tell us about uplifts, and then it says, what do you do? So by default, Untamed World player characters are operatives for I'm just going to go with the UEF. We're not going to fumble again. A paramilitary force that serves the needs of individuals, outposts, and settlements in the new frontier of the Untamed Worlds. So, I guess I'm sort of seeing this as colonial marines. Let's just say it, yeah. So then it says, what sort of threats? A wide variety. Killer robots intent on punishing humanity for their imperfections and excesses. Failed experiments. Hostile alien flora and fauna. Rebels and dissidents of various types and ideologies. Dangerous criminals and pirates seeking pleasure and profit. It's never a dull day in the UEF. So there we go. You see, even in that short paragraph, there's multiple sci-fi movies that are instantly coming to mind as far as an idea of the types of missions or stories that you might want to sort of tell with this game. But of course, with an animal player character, which puts a sort of different twist on it, I guess. What does it say? Is that all you do? So, given that humanity created uplifts to serve them as subordinate species, and the few humans that serve alongside them are often pressed into service, there is a baked-in additional theme in Untamed Worlds. Yeah. So one day you're going to have had enough of being expendable, enough of being unequal, enough of sacrificing for those who refuse to see you as worthy of the comforts and considerations they enjoy. On that day, you will... ... Okay, so this actually is quite an important part of this game. It depends at what point as a GM do you want to sort of hit that. But we'll talk about that as we go through. So we're getting a little bit of info about the Untamed Worlds, a little bit of background about aliens. You're asking what type of animal would you play, not having seen the options. You have, of course, come to Monkeys with Fire. You'll already see the character I've created when I upload the video thumbnail once this stream finishes, but it won't take many guesses. So what type of sci-fi is this? Untamed World rests somewhere in the middle of the space opera and military science fiction genres. So it's more Halo than 2001: A Space Odyssey. Okay, so that's sort of it's more aliens, isn't it? We're in the future. We've got sci-fi tech. We can do sci-fi things, but let's not get too bogged down with the science of it. Let's just run around with our pulse rifles and have some fun. So I'm saying, "Doe, that was too obvious." Yeah, yeah. You'll see. I've one thing I do enjoy is creating my characters, and of course, with the help of AI, you can very, very easily visualize these type of characters. Not a problem. So, a word about satire, reality, science fiction, and talking animals. So, ultimately, a science fiction action game adds a lot of science fiction does. Satirical takes on the modern world and human history. Okay. Yes, I think there's definitely things that you could incorporate into this game world. Much like Star Trek back in the day would deal with issues that humanity faces, and they would, of course, just propel it hundreds of years into the future so they could talk about it. Potentially this game could do something similar, couldn't it? Maybe it is kind of doing that. So we got some inspiration here, and I'm looking through some of these books and comics and films and TV shows. Obviously Animal Farm, Babylon 5, Band of Brothers, Creature Commandos. That's relevant at the moment, isn't it? DuckTales, Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, definitely I would say Guardians Galaxy 3. Halo, as it's just mentioned. Mass Effect, yep. Planet of the Apes, hint hint. Of course it's going to mention Star Trek and Star Wars and Stargate and Starship Troopers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then one down here, oh, well, we've got to mention Watership Down. But We Free. I believe that is a really, really good comic book series and probably a lot of inspiration for maybe some of the themes that you can touch upon with this particular game. But it says here, the primal rule. The game should make sense and be enjoyable to everybody involved. And that's the case with all role-playing games, isn't it? As long as everybody around the table is having fun, and that's all that counts. So we're going into a little bit more detail here, trying to sort of set the scene as far as the world, the galaxy that our characters inhabit. And as it says, Untamed Worlds is one of military science fiction and space opera cinematic action. But I like the idea of the sort of the Halo style. Halo, aliens, and then mixed with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think that's probably a good analogy, isn't it? We get in a little bit of detail on what is the role of the UEF. Some detail on how the actual the galaxy is organized, the planetary sort of councils. And we're getting these illustrations to give us an idea of the different animal... You can't really say... Is it races? You can't say animal races, can you? I don't know. Breeds? That's probably a bit more appropriate. Project Uplift, so talking about the experimentation as they realised that they wanted to explore the galaxy but not necessarily send humans out to do it. Let's go and send animals instead. So, more detail on the UEF. I get the impression that this book is a lot of detail on the universe setting. Regular military, talking about various ranks. There is a considerable amount. Officer ranks, warrant ranks. So you can really get into this if this was something you wanted to do. Corporations. This, of course, makes me think of, again, Alien, with, is it Wayland Yutani? And then, of course, we could have maybe lean into Blade Runner a little bit with the, is it the Tyrrell Corporation? There's so many great sci-fi movies that you can pull from and to bring sort of into this universe, or at least try and help ground your sort of thinking, both as a player and as a GM. So we got dissident groups, rebels maybe? What's this? The Church of Kizu? Frontier Labourers Association. We've got extremists. Moreau's Children. Ah, is it the island of Dr. Moreau? A separatist group known as Moreau's Children, predominantly composed of renegade uplifts from the United Inner Systems, basing their society loosely around the fragments of a 19th century science fiction novel. Yeah. Oh gosh, here we go. Of course, the New Reich conglomerate. So we do have our empire as a small faction out there in the galaxy. Not with the same level of power. It would seem that the corporations... Is it the corporations have the power in the galaxy? But the Empire is like a small pocket. It makes me think of... Oh gosh. It would be considered now the Star Wars Legacy books. Once Return of the Jedi happened and that was the fall of the Empire. The Empire, of course, didn't just disappear. It carried on, but it became a very small, a few planets worth that were loyal still to what was left of the Empire. So I get that's how I would be running this. They have a small area of the galaxy. Marauders. Got to have our pirates, haven't we? We've got Marauders, then we have pirates. So there's quite a lot of different factions here, and then we have our aliens. So we got bugs and we got nids. So bugs, I guess, here we go. The insectoid aliens, collectively known as bugs, are found on several worlds throughout the Untamed Worlds. Their origins are unknown. Bugs are very aggressive and known to attack or overrun human settlements and outposts. Those killed or captured by the bug hives are eventually consumed, and occupied communities are slowly transformed into new hives. And then the nids. We're not going to go into too much detail on them because, of course, I don't like it. But they make me think of I I think the nids are closer to the bugs in Starship Troopers, but you instantly want to say that they're bugs, don't you? So, yeah. What's it like to live life in the UEF, or to be an uplift? So, UEF uplifts serve tours of 5 years. And then we're getting details on their social status and laws. Of course, we'll find out that they are considered a sort of, well, not even a second-class citizen. They have very few rights, mainly just to serve humankind. What is it like to be a human? So there's a lot of detail, and here we go. Commodities, communications, cuisine, crime. Got into, yeah, so much detail. And this is good. I mean, of course, it's sort of, we get enough to be able to get an idea of what the designer wants to set for their sort of galaxy. But of course, we can pull from all of the pop culture movies and shows to help sort of populate this if we want to. We have a timeline of how things have played out. Again, more illustrations of the various UEF operatives. Okay, so we've had a good just shy of 60 pages of introduction as far as setting the scene. So we get to actually playing the game. So Untamed Worlds uses a newly designed system for the game called the Lucky 7 system. Alright, it's interesting. The core mechanic for Lucky 7 combines a character's abilities, situational modifiers, and a dice roll involving the sum of 2 6-sided dice. Any result 7 or over is good, with exceptional rolls generating good effects. Rolling 6 or under is not as good, generating bad effects. Usually only the players roll dice for their characters, the GM determines modifiers and adjudicates results. So while many tabletop role-playing games use similar methods to determine success and failure in various situations, Untamed Worlds is built around a principle worth explaining. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Dice rolls generate good effects so that characters can do interesting, exciting, and inspiring things. They generate bad effects so characters can experience interesting, challenging, and motivating setbacks. This includes succeeding or failing at tasks, but that's only part. Effects also represent momentum, environmental conditions, interesting discoveries, compelling complications, and other results. When a player picks up a die so their character can do something, they are creating a point in play where things can change, diverge, or escalate. Succeed or fail, the results will be interesting. This philosophy means that when an action isn't going to generate engaging or exciting outcomes, don't roll for it. Even if the character could theoretically fail, skip it if that failure does not create potentially entertaining outcomes. Describe what happens and move on. That's interesting. And we got a little bit of an example. Okay, so let's just have a quick look here. Advantages and disadvantages. So tasks have their own difficulty derived by the complexity of the task or the abilities of those seeking to oppose a character's efforts. So multiple advantages in multiple situations would give advantage. Still roll 3 dice. Ah, okay. So let me just double check on this. Does it? Did I just skip past it? Because I think it's going to have text, isn't it? Yeah. So advantage allows a character attempting the task check to roll an extra die. So typically you'd roll 2 dice, but if you have an advantage, you get to roll 3, and you use the 2 highest results. Disadvantage forces the character attempting to roll an extra die and uses the 2 lowest. Yeah, I think we've seen that kind of mechanic in other games, haven't we? Okay, that's cool. Range and zones. So, space, scale, and zone. Space is vast, yes. So we will potentially have some space flight elements to this. That's cool. Turns. Often tasks can be attempted without keeping close track on time. Alright, a turn is a short moment of time where players have their characters can perform a few immediate actions and determine their results. So we got our action points. Here we go. Each turn, a character gets a number of action points to use. For each action a character wants to attempt, they spend action points. Most action points take 1 AP to perform, but some are free, and others take more, costing 2 or more. So by default, all characters have 2 action points per turn. Weak, wounded, impaired, or unimportant characters may have 1, while elite or exceptionally fast and dangerous characters can have 3. Okay, so let's take a look. What are the actions? You can activate and deactivate. That doesn't take any points. It's flipping a switch, isn't it? Aiming is 1 point, assisting is a point, attacking is a point. So is evade, a full evade, that's what's the difference. Active characters assume to take cover and otherwise attempt, so that's evade. A full evade, the fully committed version of evade, the character focuses entirely on avoiding fire and taking cover. Ah, okay. Evade gives character +1 defense, whereas full evade gives a character +3 defense. Okay. Moving, getting ready, reloading, talking doesn't cost anything, treating, using a medic or using some kind of medical skill, or using something. But most things just take 1 action point, so you can do a couple of things in your turn, can't you? But that's, again, that's pretty standard. Tasks, here we go. When a character wants to do something, so they're going to roll a die known as a task check. We got a difficulty. To make a task check, roll 2d6 and apply the following modifiers. Add a relevant skill, such as marksmanship for a range attack. Add any situational bonuses, such as having exceptional equipment, superior positioning. Subtract the difficulty of the task. Subtract any situational penalties. If the result is 7 or greater, the character succeeds. If it's 6 or under, they fail. It's a little bit... Well, actually, no. I was going to say it's a bit like the cipher system, but that's only in as far as sort of the difficulty aspect, isn't it? So no, it's fair to not make that comparison. So what have we got here? Something is easy is going to add 1 point. Average is 2 to 3 points. So I guess the GM has a bit of flexibility here. Challenging 3 to 4. Hard is 5 to 6. Punishing is 7 to 8. And hellish is 9 plus. My goodness. And then we have our effects, don't we? So if we get 7 or more, so task's effect is the amount over or under 7. The task's dice roll after applying all the modifiers. So if you get a +1 over the 7, but you got 2s, 1 to 3s. Yes, so thus a task result of 5 generates 2 bad effects. While a result of 11 would generate 4 good effects. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then you would spend those points on either depending on which way you went, with the good effects or bad effects. And there's your costs, isn't it? What have we got? Let's just look at the good. We can do extra damage. We can do another hit to another target. We can keep moving for an additional zone, so we're just going faster. We gain some positive momentum. Recover 1 hit. Okay. And we got bad ones. I'm hit, I'm out. I'm in a bad spot. Some detail on momentum. Let's get to... because we are going to skip through this a little bit. But it doesn't seem overly complicated, the actual mechanics. But it is being quite comprehensive. It's going through, we got chases, drugs and toxins, falling. We've got quite a few recovering. So everything you would expect, all here. Good. And then we have a nice example. I always like games that include examples of play because that's so much easier to sort of get your head around. But I prefer to see examples in character creation. So let's see if we have something here. So we got our player characters. PCs are created by following the 6 steps below. Step 1, pick your heritage. Ah, okay. So a character's heritage in Untamed Worlds refers to their basic origins, either as a human or a genetically altered animal. And it does go into a little detail on this, because this is the meat of the game, isn't it? Because you're going to play this game because you want to play as an animal. It's as simple as that. And it goes into what did I see? It was talking about how animals, as an elephant, you're effectively reduced in size, even though you've got a lot of the traits of an elephant, but it's manageable elephant. It's the size of a large, bulky man, whereas a mouse might go to 3 or 4 foot. So they don't necessarily all become 6 foot. And they don't necessarily keep their size as what would be their actual animal size. So it's interesting. You can play around with things as much as you need to make it work. I guess like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're probably what, 4 foot, 5 foot, something like that maybe. A turtle's much smaller. So, okay, so creating your own heritages, okay. So what have we got? M was asking before, what animal would we play as? So, well, let's go through and see what different types of animals we can be. And what it's doing is it's basically giving us the broad sort of umbrella of the type of animal, and then giving us some examples of the types of animals within those heritages. So, amphibian, we could be a frog or a toad or a turtle or a salamander. A bat. Fruit bats, vampire bats, flying foxes. A bird, eagles, falcons, pigeons, crows, emus. Canine, dogs, coyotes, wolves, foxes, raccoon dogs. Is that crustacean? Yep. Yeah, crustacean. So dolphins, porpoises, orcas. Oh gosh, Echidna, platypus. Who wants to be a platypus? Elephant, feline, hippo, human, because you can be a human. Hyena. I thought hyena would be like a dog. I didn't realise it was its own sort of thing. Lagomorph. What's a lagomorph? I'll let you guys in the chat answer that one. Marsupials. Mustelid. This is actually really interesting. Mustelid. The badgers, otters, weasels, wolverines, and ferrets. Octopus. Pinniped. Pinniped? Seals, sea lions, and walruses. Porcine, pigs, boars, and warthogs. Primates. Hey. Chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, baboons, lemurs, and monkeys. Procyon. Raccoons. And red pandas. Oh, red pandas are cool. Rhinos, rodents, saurians, crocodiles and alligators and snakes and Komodo dragons. Sharks. ungulate. Horses and deers and moose. And giraffes and goats and zebras. Ursine. Sun bears, polar bears, black bears. Ursine. If this is, I mean, I'm taking it that these are correct in the animal kingdom. I wouldn't know whether they were made up for the game or not, but they sound correct and interesting. So this is actually it's quite cool. Have I missed? Is it mostly sort of? I want to say it's not all mammals, is it? Because we basically, in fact, we don't. Well, we have amphibians, we have birds, but we haven't had. Yeah. So there's obviously nothing from the insect world because those are the bugs, aren't they? And I can't imagine that humanity would go, "Hey, arachnids, let's make you larger than what you already are." Okay. And then it talks about parallel heritages, mongooses, meerkats, aardvarks, squids. So there is obviously a vast number of different potential animals that you could be. Step 2, pick your background. So were you fostered? Were you regarding Uplift's farms? Were you sort of bred? Were you feral? And then we got human backgrounds. Step 3, pick your specialities. My goodness. Covert operations, communications, engineer, explosives, gunnery, infantry, instruction, intelligence, leader, medical, ranger, scout, sniper, space operations, special operations, vehicle operations. So the choice in this is actually really impressive. So many different heritages, so many different kinds of specialty. That's actually really cool. Pick your name and your rank. Oh, does it give us some idea? Where do I get our names? Uplift names. Much like most humans, uplifts are usually given personal and surnames. The difference is uplift surnames are rarely used outside official records. So let's an uplift engineered and raised at the McDonald Agricorp Farm Complex Alpha might have the surname Alpha McDonald or oh gosh, yeah, okay. There's a mishmash of the two. You're saying your choice would be a platypus or a jellyfish. You can't be a jellyfish, but you could be a platypus. So it's interesting the amount of different creature types you can be. It's overwhelming, but it's very then easy to see the ones that you can't be. So jellyfish is one you can't, but you can be a dolphin. And other sort of mammal type fish, but it's not a fish, is it? You know what I mean. We've got names, we've got our call signs, then our ranks, whether enlisted, warrant officers, officers. Gosh, there's so much. Final adjustments. Determine hits, defense, carrying capacity. Alright. Let's pick your gear. We're looking at skills. What type of skills do we have? Athletics, command, CQB. Oh, close quarters battle. Training, instinct, and experience with up close combat. Demolitions, espionage, hacker, marksmanship, mechanic, medic, pilot, recon, science, survival. So, skills. Only is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 core skills. And then we have tricks. Heritage, backgrounds, and specialities provide characters with various special abilities called tricks. So depending on any of those elements, you're going to have this huge list to go through, and it looks like a good 20, 25 maybe. What do we have? Cat-footed, charger, a charmer, a gearhead, martial artist, sharp shooter. So the types of things that we would expect for this type of game. But then we've got in some venomous. So depending on what type of creature you're playing as, might get something extra. Aha! And a character generation example. So we are going through. It's gone step by step in text as opposed to showing a character sheet. Okay, that's not too bad. Oh, here we go. Sample PCs. One of the characters designed as starting UEF team. So we got. Oh, here we go. We got a king who's a wolf dog. Named Cyrus King. He's a staff sergeant. Special operations. One of the tricks is called I Ain't Got Time to Bleed. Name that movie. Banshee, Frenchie, Fluffy. 8-ball. Okay, I like this. That's good. That's good. We've got a section on gear. Let's see what type of gear can we have. So it's breaking it down on how gear works with name, damage, range, perks, basic gear. Okay, so we've got a whole variety of weapons here. UEF, Avery Arms, Plasma Launcher. Was in 9mm. The M26 Combat Rifle. M22 Combat Carbine. Melee weapons, a battle axe, combat knife, explosives. And then we got our armor, basic gear, special gear. Okay. Knock knock. Other gear, got civilian carbine. Alright, lots of stuff. More armor. Got some charts of the melee weapon for the ranged. Vehicles. So, and then talking about scale, so of course this will be important, won't it? Because we've got the potential of characters fighting against maybe cars or small flyers, but then we've got maybe jets up against large spaceships or stations. Cheers, Em. Have a good rest of your day or evening, depending where you are. Vehicle statistics. What type of vehicles we got? Yeah, Landcraft. We've got Starfighter. So the only, as we're sort of going through this, it's a shame we don't have little illustrations on some of these weapons and some of these vehicles. It would be nice to sort of, get that sort of flavour. As much as we are seeing all of the different creatures, this is also an important part of sort of trying to form the world in your sort of mind's eye. Granted, of course, as I sort of alluded right at the start, it doesn't take much with modern image AI to create something. So I don't think it would pose too much of a problem for you to do so. So advancement, once we get through a mission. What's it saying here? PCs earn 1 experience. So if the mission was successful, if the mission was exceptionally difficult, they uncovered an important secret. if they were seriously injured. So a whole variety of different mission points there to which you will gain experience from. And then your advances. Once a character has accumulated 10 experience, they can gain an advance. So learn a new trick, learn a second new trick, learn a third and final trick. Increase 3 skills by 1, increase 1 skill by 2. So these are the different things you can check off. Once you've got them, that's it. You then go to veteran. Commendations, promotions. So this effectively now is the sort of, I guess, the GM section about running an actual game. And it does talk about the tone of the setting, which hopefully is kind of alluded to a little bit as you've been reading through this, that life is not good for these uplifted animals as they venture out into the stars, and potentially they might want to rebel. So it's giving you different sort of ideas here for settings. So they were expendable, in harm's way, the great escape, where eagles dare. I did sort of think of a bit of an idea myself, that maybe the first couple of games, I could have broke this down into a sort of 9 mission little mini campaign. The first 3 being that you're doing various military operations, but as your players are playing through them, they're doing things because they're told, because they are good uplift creatures, and their higher up in command has told them to go and achieve this objective, and they just want to be a good boy and to get their praise, because there's part of their animal sort of side to them that's still there. But they start to question some of the missions that they are doing, and they start to realize that actually they are just cannon fodder, and maybe some of the things they are being told to do are not really very, very good. And so ultimately, in the middle section, they start to break away and trying to form their own way of getting out from under the UEF. And if they are then successful on that, maybe they take the fight to the UEF in the last couple of missions. So, you know, I feel I could have quite a bit of fun creating a sort of, multi-part adventure for my characters and for players. So, just talk about missions and campaigns, different mission types. I think that it mostly talks about actually sort of randomly generating up missions. So here you go, random mission generator, the different types of missions, objectives, opposition, location. And then we do get some example missions. So there's a couple in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 example missions. There's not actually a main mission at the end of the game like in most books, but these 6 here, they are essentially what you need. Details on various enemies, enemy characters, and bigger bads. We got extremists, dissident leaders, marauders. We kind of mentioned some of these, didn't we, right at the start? Bugs, the bug queen, the bug behemoth, the nids. Well, we're going to right past those. And then we are starting to get some of the elements. I'm going to actually put up the spoilers just in case. some of the elements in this universe that are hinted at as part of the player section, and it's up to then the GM whether they want to sort of flesh this out more so. Things that are going on in the universe that might make for interesting stories. So, as is the case with a lot of games, we'll skip all that. We got our random system generator, random planet generator. We've seen something similar in the Star Trek role-playing game. Gravity and atmosphere. So again, this is a quick way of being able to generate your planets and have a lot of variety, but we're not getting too bogged down in the science of it. But at least it will give you something interesting. Different features on the worlds we create. And then we got a bit of an appendix. UEF ranks, slang, so we can talk the talk. The alphabet in military sort of tone. Slang names. Aha, there we go. We've got our character sheet. And Osprey Games do have an online resource for all of their games, so you'll be able to download this. And usually they have a digital version that you can basically type on into. Which is nice and handy, or print it out, and then rules reference sheet. So this is very, very handy, and I think this is available as a separate download as well. So you get all of your gaming rules. That's basically it. We just get to the end. So, that was Untamed Worlds from Osprey Games. I like the concept for the game, for sure. It's not hard for me not to, because I enjoy the whole Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Rocket Raccoon sort of style. As I say, I enjoyed the Mutant Year Zero that had the actual animals in that expansion. I thought that was really, really good. It's very, very easy to imagine the different kinds of missions that these teams might go on. Again, draw inspiration from any of the military games that you might have played on your console. Halo, of course, is probably one that stands out. Draw from Aliens movies, draw from Blade Runner, draw from Star Wars and Star Trek for some of your elements. So it's really, really easy to grab ideas and then fuse it with this sort of unique world. I think what will be the real trick and what will get your players really interested is this idea that you are expendable and not particularly cared for and not particularly looked well of, and that being the case, maybe you don't want to do what the your I don't want to say owners. Because some of these creatures are not, they're not owned, but the dogs. But maybe they don't want to follow orders anymore. Maybe they want to take matters into their own hands, and I think that's going to be the interesting, bigger story where there's a lot more fun to be had, as effectively you sort of rebel. And I think that will be quite cool. Be interesting to see what sort of stories people make up. If you've got any ideas, why don't you leave it as a comment? Let's sort of share some ideas of what type of stories you might tell in this world. So there you go. That's Untamed Worlds from Osprey Games. I believe it is available now. There is a link in the video description. You can go and check it out, and I dare say it will be available in your local tabletop role-playing game shop very, very soon, if not already. Thank you very much for joining me. Thanks for any comments you leave in the chat. And yeah, I hope to have another live stream very soon. But until then, bye for now.